Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have a little different scenery behind me because I'm actually up in Montana again at my mom's house. Today we are going to be tackling her walk-in pantry. We're going to be painting in here, getting it a really nice backdrop, and then we are going to make her space work for her, not against her. I have so many plans for this space. I'm really excited to take you guys along with me on this new pantry makeover. I wanna hear you say So pay attention to this before. Every shelf is piled, the floor is hard to see and walk on, and there's really no rhyme or reason to this space, but all of that is about to change. And the first thing that I wanted to change right away is the light bulb, not to a daylight bulb because that can feel kind of cold, but I am going to make this space a little bit more neutral by adding a natural light in here that won't make everything quite so yellow. So I wanted to start out by emptying the pantry completely out. That way we can go through everything and also clear it out so that I can start painting in just a bit. In this room, here's the pantry, like right there. So we're actually moving it into this room right next to the kitchen. As I'm doing that, my mom's actually in here like sorting things out, finding anything that's expired, anything that she's not going to eat, she's going to like give to my brother or donate. And then everything else, like we're just kind of organizing. It'll just make our process or like the process a little bit easier as we go. I got nothing more to lose. Recover your eyes, this one's for you. They say you have to live to learn. Maybe that's why I question burn. I got news for you. Oh, I'm jumping up Kilimanjaro, Kilimanjaro. Listen to my drum as I bang. I'm not gonna be silent in this beer of wang. Oh, you know I'm not. All right, here is our current update. We have the pantry completely emptied from top to bottom. I do still have to clean in there, so I'm gonna wipe down all the shelves. Then we will get to painting, but first I want to show you kind of where we're at. All right, in here we have all of the food. My mom's still kind of going through things. Like this is a pile of things that like have been expired. This is like some food storage items, glass items, mostly grain items, all the cans. The pantry has overflown onto the counters. This is why we really even need to go in the pantry because like there hasn't been room to put this stuff in the pantry. We are not only going to be organizing and changing up this pantry, but we are going to get all this food that's all good and that she still wants to use and keep back in the pantry. But we are also going to give her her countertops back. I was telling my mom, I totally see how this stuff happens because especially when, you know, like you change up your diet, things like that, and, you know, life just happens and you just kind of have to deal with it. You get a lot of extra things in here and then it just gets buried. And then, you know, like she has 3 cases of these from Costco of these pineapples because the other ones were buried in there. Like she didn't know she had them. And so it just happens so easily. But this is going to really motivate her to be cooking the things that she wants to cook. She's not going to be overbuying things because she'll know what she has. And it's just going to be so much different going forward. So I'm so excited for her. But let me show you. This house was built almost 20 years or something like that, and these shelves look like it, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and paint the shelves. And I'm also going to get rid of this yellow color back here just to something more neutral and kind of more inviting. Everybody wants to surrender, darling, you were meant to survive. With every star, we are born again. Open your heart, spend less time in your Now, before we can start actually painting, I of course had to vacuum the shelves and the floors and also take a few minutes just to wipe down the shelves as best I could. That way I wouldn't be painting over any of the dirt and grime and we would just have a clean and clear space to start with. I am for sure going to be painting the shelves because there are divots out of it. It just has like a decent enough amount of wear. However, if you are not painting, like you don't need to paint your walls or you don't have to paint your shelves because you don't have like divots like that. If you use a magic eraser, and actually this is just the Walmart brand magic eraser. It's not even like the super tough one or the name brand, but this could actually get your shelves and things like that way cleaner if you aren't planning to paint. Finally, we are ready to paint and we are using Benjamin Moore Pale Oak, of course. So it's going to give some warmth in here, but it's also just going to be very light and it will be like the perfect backdrop. I am actually going to start painting around the edges. My mom is going to tape off like around this area so that these beautiful wood posts don't get covered up by paint, and then I'll just be rolling as much as I can.
Feeling in my bones, I can feel it in my veins. Hands in the sky, I can feel the winds of change. You live and you learn, and I hope I've seen enough to make something right and make up for what I've lost.
So I feel like this color totally looks white by comparison to the yellow that was previously on the wall, but it really is more of a light stone color. And I honestly just feel like this color is the perfect backdrop to almost any space. We have this color all throughout our house. We have used this in one of my sister's homes and just kind of all over the place. It's perfect if you want to add a little warmth to your space, but not go too warm. I feel like it's the perfect middle ground between going for fully white walls and going for a tan or a beige color. And I feel like it just makes any wall feel so much more fresh and clean. Alright, we have most everything trimmed out and cut in, like the bottoms cut in, the doors cut in, and then I've kind of trimmed out along those corners, and my mom is just finishing like taping off these areas. So while she's doing that, I think I'm going to go ahead and start rolling, and then we're really going to see that difference. It's the best part.
Got the feeling from the start, you might be the guy who'll break my heart. Hello, hello. Even though I took a risk, it is worth the while for just one kiss. I know, I just know it. Caught up in the moment, wanna spend every second with you, yeah. All I do is thinking about you. Stuck in the middle, what can I do? Yeah, I just wanna be right next to
I love how this color is turning out in my mom's pantry, and I also love how it looks like I painted this pantry in a very short amount of time, when in reality it took a majority of the day. But I didn't really mind spending the time painting in here because I did get to spend that time with my mom, and this whole makeover was just a fun memory of spending the week with my mom and getting to actually help her in her home.
I don't know. Even when you say let's go, I can see the hesitation grow. Just know, I just know it. Caught up in the moment, wanna spend every second with you, yeah.
We still have to do this top row and then up there in the ceiling, and then I will have to do like some extra layers, probably just on the shelves, but it's looking so good.
What can I do? Yeah, I just wanna be right next to
All right, it is a new day. We have the pantry all painted. It looks so much better. It looks actually like very custom and just new and fresh. And I love that we did the shelves and the wall the same color, because then I think the star of the show is really just going to be like all the containers and all the food itself, and not be a distraction with too much going on in here. And then I do love these like wood posts that we left bare wood. It's just so pretty in here. Next, we are going to grab some containers that we found at like TJ Maxx the other day. And I'm going to kind of start sorting them in here and laying them out in a way that kind of makes sense for, you know, my mom's cooking and everything. Then we'll actually come in here and start bringing some of the food and putting them into the containers. Okay, I wanted to go over the containers that we got so far. I am gonna have to go get like some airtight containers, and we may have to go back and get different ones. Some of these may not work, so I am going to leave the tags on until we decide like, yes, they are gonna work great for the space. And I will say TJ Maxx, Home Goods, Marshalls, all those places are really a great spot to start when you are starting with a blank slate and you need like organization, whether it's in your bathroom, your pantry, your kitchen, whatever. Their prices are just really good. So I got, I think 8 of these ones. 2 of these little baskets. You can hang it on your shelf like that, and all of a sudden you're using some vertical space underneath the shelf that you normally would not have been using. We did get 2 of these really pretty wicker baskets, some Lazy Susans. These are going to make your corners so useful. Now these are actually for water bottles. These are going to be set side by side, and they're going to hold her like potatoes, sweet potatoes, onions, things like that. She currently has like all of her spices on her counter, but it's taking up a lot of prime real estate in the kitchen. And she, you know, like all of us, you really only go for your favorite ones most of the time. So the rest of them are actually going to move into her pantry, which is still really convenient to the kitchen, but we are going to make them really easy to see. So I got these. Last but not least, I got these little plastic gray bins. Now these are the only ones with like kind of a color. I know they're neutral, but I wanted to keep things pretty simple in here, and we will be adding labels and stuff like that on at the end. Anyway, those are the things we got. Now let's go ahead and put them up on the shelves.
Walk me in the morning sun, tell me I'm a lucky one. I'm riding on the wave of a notion that I could be brave. Is there anything good on the radio? Turn it up loud and let me know how it used to be before anyone heard of you and me. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling great. Running out of town just to celebrate. The fortune's here to stay.
So this is just tentatively kind of how I have it laid out. And then up here, I plan to mostly have the clear airtight containers up there, just so they're really easy to see and reach. But now we're gonna go ahead and just start actually loading some of these food items into the bins and kind of see where we land.
Still got your pearls hanging by my bedside. Still got your lips on paper in a trash.
This is the perfect example of why it really pays to have your space organized. I know she would not have bought like, you know, 10 garbanzo beans or 10 kidney beans or 10, you know, whatever of all of these, and they're all different brands, so it's not like she got all of them from Costco at the same time. But it's like she would think, oh, I need some beans, I don't have any more, I can't find any, you know, where they normally are, because they're somewhere lost in the pantry. So now it'll be great, because she honestly is probably gonna save a ton on groceries the next few months, because she'll be able to see exactly what she has. Now, I'm not in love with the way this is looking. I feel like it looks a little bit cluttered. I did find a really nice can organizer at Walmart. I could actually use these for something else, which might be nicer, but good to try, and we'll kind of see where we land. But now we're just going to continue on like filling up the baskets and all that stuff. Whenever I'm doing a pantry makeover, I love using clear containers so everything you have can be seen at a glance. Now, the reason I love doing that is because I feel like that makes you more motivated to cook and prepare food, and also it's a lot easier to meal plan and not overbuy things when you go to the store because you can just easily and quickly see everything you have. I have done so many pantry makeovers in the past, and if you've seen a lot of those, you will know that I will often opt for a wall can organizer just because then you're able to utilize that unused vertical space. However, my mom didn't have a great wall or door to hold the vertical organizer, so these can organizers were about $15 from Walmart, and they work so well, and they look really nice too. It is a new day once again. Yesterday, like, I was hoping to get a lot more done, but we were kind of all over the place. We got a late start. We had to run out and run some errands. Like, we just didn't get to as much as I was hoping for. But I think today we can actually go ahead and finish everything up. I had ordered some labels, so those just arrived, and I don't really feel like we're waiting on anything else. We did pick up the items that we needed. Late last night, I put the can organizers in, and I love how those look. I feel like they look so much more put together. And now we're just gonna kind of put it all together. So let's not chat any longer. Let's just get it done. It's a crisp 0 degrees outside with like wind chill, which feels even colder. It is pretty rough here.
I should have kept you close, I should have held you tighter, 'cause in my book you were my favorite chapter.
These Better Home and Garden airtight containers are hands down my favorite airtight containers I have ever tried. They are budget friendly and really high quality. I actually have these same exact ones in my own pantry. They work super well and they have held up for years, and they also come in lots of shapes and sizes, so you can definitely find ones that will work for you. And as always, everything that I use will be linked down below in the description box. And if there's something that you can't find a link for that you're wanting to use in your own home, definitely leave a comment and I will do my best to let you know where that came from or find a link for you. I am just going to use some Post-its. I'm actually going to tear them in half just because I don't need the whole Post-it. And then I'm going to just write like what kind of things we're going to store in them and make sure that we have it set up a good way. I am feeling like a little bit overwhelmed, and I wanted to share that because if you are doing your pantry or you're organizing a different space, it can feel overwhelming before you kind of get into the flow of things. And especially this isn't my pantry, and so I'm just having to do what I know, but what will work for her. I would just say, like, if you're starting to get into funk in a certain area, move on to something else. I was kind of unsure where to go with the rest of the food for a minute, so I was like, okay, I know what shelf is going to work well for the appliances, so I did that. And then I'm like, okay, next, I know that these 3 baskets were meant to go right here. They are going to have things like granola, just things that she has all the time, but like we're not going to decant into a container. They're just going to go in their original packaging in a basket. So continue the process, but don't just stay in one area. If you're starting to feel overwhelmed or really unsure, just move on to something else and it will all come together. But it takes patience, so don't feel like that's, you know, a totally unrealistic thing. That's just how it goes. So now with this, she'll be able to just pull it down, pick through whatever granola she wants. But because she doesn't always buy the same granolas and she has, you know, different ones, this way we don't need to like decant everything, but it's just really easy for her to pull a whole basket down and they'll stay organized within the basket versus just having these sitting on the shelf. I'm kind of stuck from here. I'm not entirely sure what she has that I would like to put in this one. So again, we're just going to move on and I'm going to actually reorganize these cans down here. She has a ton of the same ones that is definitely unintentional. It was just because the pantry was so disorganized before. So this entire top row is garbanzo beans. So instead of taking up all of that space, I'm actually going to have a bin on the floor. All the excess is going to go on the floor, and for the first while, she is just going to know before she goes to the store, because she's out of garbanzo beans or whatever it might be, she needs to shop her pantry, which is going to be the bottom of her pantry for the moment. And, you know, like then she can restock from there. So that's what we're going to kind of reorganize right now.
Maybe I was blind, known you forever while I tried to find someone that could be my great love. Right in front of me, I didn't realize you were my dream. So you took me by surprise. Oh yeah, even in my wildest dreams, I didn't think we were destined to be. And now you're laying next to me. Everything feels like oh yeah. Wanna give you every part of me. I can't believe this is reality.
Next, I want to wash all of these containers out. We just want to get like all that plasticky smell out, nice and sanitized before we start putting our own food in there. So I'm going to take these and just go rinse them out in the sink real quick. And then once they're all dry, we'll start decanting things, which is like one of my favorite spots or favorite parts of doing a pantry.
Feels like oh yeah. I'm just curious, when did you know you had feelings for me? Maybe somehow we've always known that we have chemistry, but always chasing after someone else. So this took me by surprise. Oh yeah, even in my wildest dreams, I didn't think we were destined to be. And now you're laying next to me. Everything feels like oh yeah. Wanna give you every part of me. I can't believe this is reality. And now you're laying next to me. Everything feels like oh yeah.
Lazy Susans are the perfect thing to put in a corner of your pantry. Now, since my mom does have these posts on the corners, that makes it a little bit trickier to get into these areas. I'm only adding in the extra foods that she won't be grabbing for all the time, and I'm going to be using the other parts of the pantry as the prime real estate for the items that she's going to be grabbing every day.
Even in my wildest dreams.
We actually ended up decluttering some of my mom's spices that she were either out of date or she just never went for. But we are going to put some teas on the other spice rack. That way she can like always see what ones they are because they'll be tiered, but it's just going to be a good way to kind of store them and also display them so she'll actually be able to use them.
I get dressed up to go downtown. I'm all messed up on a Friday night.
In one of these bins, we're actually going to put basically anything that we're not going to be decanting or things like obviously not cans. But whenever you are putting items into bins and baskets, you really want to make sure that you're categorizing them. So if we just put, you know, a bunch of randomness in here, you're never going to go into here and access it, and a lot of the food's going to go to waste. Instead, we are going to make one that's all pasta, one that might be baking items, one that might be breakfast items. This one that we're actually going to work on is actually going to be items that are just really quick and easy to make. We're just going to start filling up these baskets, but being very intentional with what we're putting in there so that you kind of know what to expect when you go in each basket. This bin is going to be filled with basically all the extra flours like spelt flour, coconut flour, tapioca flour, all those random flours and sugars we're gonna put in this bin. Okay, so for these two bins, we are going to have one for breakfast and one for dinner. Now, because we are going to decant some of the items into the containers, those clear containers we washed earlier, I'm not sure if we're going to have enough to actually fill up one of the whole bins for breakfast. So we might have some overflow. So you can actually put a container or a bin within a bin to kind of continue narrowing it down more a little bit. And so that way, like, we have, you know, all the breakfast stuff in here, and then we could have, you know, some convenience things in this section, and then this will be more like pasta and grains and things like that.
Took the long way around, look at all we found, and we live it up now. Yeah, we've come so far, made us who we are, and we live it up now. Took the long way around, look at all we found, and we live it up now.
Mom is making a big lunch, a big salad. This is what I'm always talking about in my videos, how she adds a ton of stuff onto the salad. So super yummy.
Took the long way around, look at all we found, and we live it up now. Yeah, we've come so far, made us who we are, and we live it up now.
One thing to keep in mind when you're making over your pantry is you do not need to decant everything. I would really only suggest that you decant things that you use regularly and that you always purchase the exact same item every single time. So for example, a few of the items that we're decanting are things like flour, oats, coconut flakes, things like that. Another thing I wanted to mention, if you have things like oatmeal, cream of wheat, where you need instructions, I literally just cut them off from the bag or box, and you can either tape them on the back, underneath the lid or something, just so that you have those instructions really easy and accessible. And the other thing is, if you're worried that you're not going to use up the item before it expires, you can just write with like a dry erase marker on here what the expiration date is, and then you'll always know when it's going bad.
Wait for me, keep watching you when you leave.
My mom actually shared with me that she has always thought decanting items into containers looked so pretty, but really felt it would be unrealistic and less convenient to do that. But now that she has lived with her pantry for a few weeks, she's actually messaged me and said it's really made things way more convenient. She can see exactly what she has and how much of it, and it's just more inviting for her to cook with those items. So she is definitely a fan of decanting items now. So if you have kind of felt that same way, I would urge you to try it out only on the things, like I said, that you use all the time and repurchase regularly. But it really does make a big difference, and it is totally realistic.
Yeah, I think you should come and pick me up, 'cause nothing feels as good as summer love.
So one thing we got is this cute little basket, and since my niece and nephews come over to not my grandma's house, to my mom's house, to their grandma's house, she just wanted to have like a fun little snack bin for them. So we are gonna put this on this little corner shelf right here. It kind of fits perfectly, and we're just gonna fill it with some little goodies we got the other day.
I would be up waiting for you if you had to leave. I would wait a lifetime if you were at sea. I just wanna say that I feel that our love is real. Maybe we should hurry up and seal the deal. Oh, oh, I just wanna love you right. Oh, oh, love you till the end of time. I just wanna hold you for forever. Every day you're making me better. 'Cause a love like this is rare.
We are almost done in here, and it's looking incredible. It feels so good. My mom and I were just looking at like the before pictures, and it's quite a difference now. So I did order some labels with these little plaques, I guess. Basically ones that you can put on like any of the bins and containers like that.
I would give it all away to do it all again. Make our love a story that would never end. Never thought I'd feel so alive, looking in your eyes. I just wanna love you till the day I die.
So for those clear containers, I got this pack. They're like Avery round 2.5 diameter labels, and you just go on your computer, type it up. So if you don't have a Cricut or something, you can make your own labels this way. The ones they have on there are so pretty and like colorful. However, the printer we have is just black and white, which is totally fine. So we are just going to do some black wording, and that way we'll know exactly what is in like each of these containers, and then also these powders and things like that as well. So we're gonna get working on labels and finish this up.
Right off the bat, I knew I loved you. You had that sparkle in your eyes, some kind of shimmer in your presence, unlike no other I had met.
These labels were super easy to make. It cost like $8 or something for a pack that did her entire pantry, and we ended up having a few extras as well. And all you need is a computer and a printer, and you can make your own labels as well. So definitely something to check out if you're wanting to make really custom labels but you don't have a Cricut.
There ain't no other way but to sing to me, as simple as I say. No need to overanalyze it. We grew apart more every day. When times get rough, I try to tell you we need to fight in every way. No hugs, no kisses could protect us from what the future had in store. Love is a flicker in the distance. Oh, you try to grab it and it's gone.
Do you remember that before? The pantry was even spilling into the kitchen and on her kitchen counters, and there was just no organization at all. And now that could not be further from where we landed. Everything is completely transformed. She has gained multiple countertops back in her kitchen because we were able to put everything back into the pantry where it belongs. Now everything looks beautiful. It's aesthetically pleasing and very welcoming to come into this beautiful space. space. We started out by giving it a fresh coat of paint and making everything match and be very neutral in here so that your eyes can really be focused on the food, which is what a pantry is all about. I love that everything has a place, everything has a home, and it feels very, very organized in here. From the wicker baskets that store the items that we didn't decant, we have all of that organized can storage now. We even have 4 Lazy Susans to make all of those corners very useful. We added in those tiered spice racks to hold all of her extra spices and herbal teas. Now all of her powders are right in front of her and easy to find and accessible, and all of her daily food is decanted into those airtight containers, and everything is so beautifully labeled. And there's even a designated space now for her appliances and overflow, and that is something that I feel is often overlooked but very important in pantries to make them kind of life-proof and not something that's going to be messy within a week or so. This pantry is now so functional, and it really helped give motivation for us to tackle other areas of our home while I was in Montana, and I know that whenever you organize and declutter a space, it can do the same for you. So if you have a pantry that's kind of looking out of place, that doesn't have a lot of organization, that is a great place to start because it can be a smaller project. It doesn't usually take a whole ton of money or a whole lot of time, and you can completely transform it. I believe in you, you definitely can. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video and got lots of tips and ideas from watching. If you want to see some of my other makeovers that I've done on the channel, and there are a ton of them, definitely check out this video on the right side of the screen. I will link it right here, and make sure that you are subscribed to my channel if you're not already. That way you don't miss out on all the future videos that we have coming up. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!